What's up, guys? We are back for episode 10. We're in double digits now of these podcasts.
Yes, sir.
That's such an exciting time.
100%.
Wow. Well, we just got done getting pelted by eggs. My back is hurting. I got some welts.
Yeah, I got hit in the ass.
If you guys want to see that video, we have that video coming out next week, so be on the lookout. But yeah, we got an exciting one today.
Yeah, let's get right into it. We finally can crown a champion with the NBA. The Denver Nuggets, they defeat the Heat in 5 games, and they are your champions. Jokic wins the Finals MVP. It was a great series. Jimmy Butler, all the magic he's done this playoffs, he couldn't have one last stride at it.
Yeah, he could not get one last hurrah, unfortunately. I was disappointed. I wanted to see, although the game 5 was a very good game, but I wanted to see a game 7. I wanted to see a little bit of a deeper series. I didn't, I really thought we both had the Nuggets winning. I actually said that the Nuggets would sweep, but that's not what happened. They gentlemen swept them. But yeah, I was just looking forward to a good series, and unfortunately the Nuggets did not want to let that happen.
No, it was, just the emotions. You saw that all those guys they wanted to get it done at home. And Denver, after the parade, there's people climbing on street signs. I saw people on traffic lights. Oh, yeah. It was going wild. The cops tried to shut it down. Denver hasn't won in 50 years, so...
Yeah. There was also a shooting that had happened in Denver after the celebration of the game.
The city was ready to party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess John Morant attended Denver, apparently. That's where he was when he showed his gun, and apparently he went right back there to shoot it up the place.
He had to get a little pow-pow in there. He shoulda.
But yeah, NPJ finally showing up. There's a little comment made when Mike Malone, the coach, was like, MPJ, it's been a rough series, but finally he had a game where he can hang his hat on and played well.
Yeah, I put that in the notes. I actually think he might have had the play of the series where he had that little fast break. He went behind the back, but through the legs, Euro stepped midway, and then just right into the lay. It was such a beautiful play. I was very impressed with MPJ coming just in that game 5 because everything else before that was not it. He was not. No. He did not have the best overall series. But yeah, exciting to see MPJ actually show up. You know, he was drafted pretty highly, a very high prospect out of college. So I want to see him continue to play like that.
Yeah. No, but congrats to Jokic for the Finals MVP. Talking about draft, he's the lowest drafted player to ever win Finals MVP. He was drafted 41st overall, 11th pick in the second round. Ends up winning the Finals MVP. Jamal Murray, emotional too.
Yeah.
I almost brought a tear to my eye, especially with what he's gone through.
Yeah, with the
last
injury.
2 years, with the injuries. He hasn't really gotten to play in really 2 years, 2 playoff series. So you just saw, he was standing up there like that was his dream as a kid. That's what everyone wants. And I like that he kind of got brought to tears. It kind of shows that a lot of those superstars are actually real people, and they care and dream.
It humanizes them a little bit to see them 100%. Like that, for sure.
Except for Jokic. Jokic doesn't care. He was like, I got to go to a parade. I just want to go back to Serbia and race my horses.
I also had the notes. I watched the full post-game trophy presentation. He was just standing in the back with his kid on his shoulders. He looked like he didn't want to fucking be there. It was, it's kind of funny to see an NBA. Obviously he wants to win, but then he doesn't give a shit about celebrating with the team. He's
100%.
Like, job is done. I go back farm in Serbia now.
No, 100%. And even when he tried to celebrate, you saw him pick up the champagne, and he had no clue what to do with it. He was like, why is it not squirting? Why is it? He's like, fuck it, I'll just drink it. I'll make it, And I was like, Jokic definitely, you could tell that man's all he cared about is basketball because he had no clue how to drink. He was holding a Michelob Ultra, and you saw him drinking. He's just like, wasn't a big fan of the beer there.
Yeah. The other funny thing I saw about Jokic was also at the trophy presentation. Have you seen his Serbian gangster looking brothers who are tanks,
tatted
just his
up
size
from head to toe,
tatted up. I saw a video of them throwing. Maybe it was their dad. I don't know who it was, but some old guy. Jokic's 2 brothers were arm in arm throwing this guy in the air at the post game trophy presentation, and I loved it.
Those guys are always a treat to watch in the crowd there, whether they're trying to start fights with some of the players on the court, or they're picking 7-2 Jokic up and tossing him up in the air after he won the chip. But it was a very exciting time for the guy that was getting tossed by Jokic's brother. Those guys can toss you up pretty high. So
those are some scary motherfuckers right there.
Yeah.
We talked a little about MPJ. I also wanted to quickly go over Aaron Gordon finally had a huge game 4. That was a huge reason why the Nuggets were able to win game 4.
He's shown up. I think this might have been the best series of the playoffs for him. I mean, we saw in game 1, Mike Malone gave him the chain for the Player of the Game award.
Yeah.
He basically did the same thing here. Obviously, Jokic is going to drop his triple-double. Like, it sucks, but it's common now where we don't even get excited when Jokic drops triple-doubles. But Aaron Gordon had a game, played very well. He had that crazy block on Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
The whole Denver team just played out of their mind. And it really, like, when you look at it, like, the offensively, they didn't play well, but it really showed, like, okay, they weren't playing well offensively, but they stepped it up on the defensive side of the ball as well. And they were like, Denver's not scoring here. Like, the announcer talked about it multiple times. They're like, Miami's role players need to score, and Kyle Lowry couldn't do it. Cody Martin couldn't do it. And it was just like, wow.
Yeah, no, and you talked about how the role players on the Heat couldn't step up when the moment was too bright. Mm-hmm. But that's not at all the case for the Denver Nuggets. I mean, we talked about MPJ, Aaron Gordon already. And then also Bruce Brown was I think, second or third leading scorer in that game 4. He had 21. Yeah. So, like, this whole Denver Nuggets squad is elite. I mean, we've been talking about it the past couple of weeks now, but they have gone overlooked. And honestly, I feel silly for overlooking them in those first couple of weeks in the playoffs and just in the season, because you've seen how they've completely dismantled team after team. Yeah. Blew through the Lakers, basically blew through the Heat. Supposed to be the two of the top 4 teams in the league, just making light work of them. So, very impressive year for the Denver Nuggets. They're going to be scary going down the line.
Yeah, and a lot of their players are still under contract coming up. So, like, it's not like they're losing a bunch of guys in free agency. So, I think they got to replace 1 or 2 guys. I don't know if Aaron Gordon's contract expired, but other than that, they got a lot of their guys that are going to be there for 2 or 3 years. So, they're going to be good for in the future. But I mean, I want to touch on Miami. You know, you're down by what? I think it was down by 1 with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Jimmy Butler drives, gets stopped. Jokic brings a double team, and he just throws the ball to Bruce Brown. We've never really seen Jimmy Butler choke like that.
Yeah,
you know, he just it wasn't even like it was a good defensive play. He just threw it right to the guy.
He literally threw it to Bruce Brown. Yeah,
and then Bruce Brown got fouled and made 2 free throws, and that was the game.
Basically. Yeah, so, very unfortunate. I'm curious to see what the Heat does in this offseason to, are they going to keep Jimmy and the guys that are around Jimmy? Do they need to rebuild a little bit? Kevin Love's getting older. Kyle Lowry's getting older. Yeah. Do they go out and try to replace those guys? I guess obviously Tyler Hero will be healthy next season, but kind of, puts a big question mark on who's going to be on that Heat roster next year.
Well, I mean, I've already heard them in Rumorville already starting to get some players for their team next year, and they need that scorer. And I've heard that they're linked to Kyrie, so maybe that's a big guy who can get a bucket whenever he wants alongside Jimmy Butler. So that'll be if they can do that, I think you fix a little bit of the scoring droughts on that side, and they're primed for another playoff push.
No, 100%. I mean, we'll see. There's a bunch. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is a pretty big free agency year. I mean, Kyrie's deal is up. I think there's a couple other guys around the league that their contracts are up. So
LeBron.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. So we'll see. We'll see what some of these teams decide to do and who they decide to sign. Hopefully, there's some big movement. I like exciting off seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, no, me too. But moving on to a little hockey.
Yeah, but congratulations, Denver Nuggets.
Oh yeah, congratulations. We forgot to give them a little
give
round of applause.
Yeah, exactly.
But moving on to hockey, we currently are filming before the game, so we're gonna send you right to us reacting if the Golden Knights can get it done, or if the Panthers, my Panthers, can survive one more game. So
they can't.
Here's that right here.
You know what? We don't even need to put anything on because VGK's winning today, guys. Come on. It's going to be they're going to be like they're the Nuggets in this situation. Come on now.
All right. Cut to Panthers winning. Boom. And we're back. Hockey game's over. I don't know what to say. It wasn't even a competition.
No, it was not.
It's just a curse. I feel really bad for the Panthers because I think I'm the reason why they lost. They were on a hot streak, and then I came in and decided to pick them, and
yeah, you fucked it all up for the Panthers, man. I hate to break it to them.
But congratulations to the Golden Knights, your Stanley Cup champions. So,
Bye. That feels good. That feels good.
the show, I guess really what we learned on this podcast throughout the past couple of weeks is it shows how much I watch and know hockey, which is not at all. I'm starting to get into it though. I was very entertained. I think I'm going to start getting into it. I might pick a team here to support here in the future, but at least hockey's over, so it's over for me making predictions for that for a while. So I think a lot of hockey teams are going to be happy that I'm done making picks for them.
All these NHL teams got to get out of your way and make sure you stay off Travis's hit list, because if he picks you, you're done. You're done. You might as well count out your championship run because you're done.
Well, I want to support a team, but then it's like, oh my God, am I gonna curse them for the next 40 years, or what's going on here? Because literally, like the Bruins, the Oilers, the Hurricanes, and the Panthers, every single time next round they lose. So
it's sad. It's almost like, you remember, the Drake curse. There's a new curse in town. It's the Travis Too Troubled curse.
It is. But overall, I mean, Vegas played very well. Mark Stone had a couple of goals. Everyone kind of got what they wanted. Everyone got goals on Vegas side. Yeah. Amadio got a goal. So and then the goalkeeper Hill he played very well, and Bobrovsky on Florida's side I guess he allowed 5-6+ goals. So.
Yeah, it's tough. Honestly, there was a moment where I was getting scared, supporting VGK and all. Game 3 and 4 Game 3, the Panthers tie it up right before the end of the third period, go into OT, and they score a pretty fucking quick goal.
Yeah,
so I thought that was going to be a turning point for the Panthers, and very, very. I think it was the same score going into that third period again. Then Game 4, 3-2. Panthers down 1. Unfortunately, they don't tie it up. No overtime. VGK wins Game 4, making it 3-1. So kind of unfortunate there. Hard to come back from. But I won't lie, there was definitely a moment where I was like, maybe the Panthers are going to make this one an interesting series here.
Yeah.
So, disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal. I'm glad you didn't give me too much hate for the Panthers here. I'm kind of depressed on over here, sadly. I thought I finally would be able to break the curse and give it done, but I wasn't able to do that. So I don't know what else to say. Maybe I'm like, I don't want to watch hockey anymore. It ruined my fun.
If you're just done with hockey altogether now.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, congratulations to the Golden Knights. I mean, what a performance here to end the series. There's really nothing else to say. They got it done at home. I believe they were at home, and congratulations, you're champions. Especially, you're only been in a franchise for 2-3 years, and you got your first chip. Some franchises take. We just saw the Nuggets win, and it took them 47 years from their creation to win a championship. So they're definitely doing things right over in Vegas, and they might be good here for a while.
Yeah, and not to mention, there's still franchises out there that have yet to win one championship. So to get one pretty early on in your franchise's career is fucking awesome.
It's huge. It's awesome for them.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'll be nice to you today. I think the loss is tough enough on you. So you'll ponder over those thoughts and how you can pick better games coming into next NHL season, because I know you're going to come back with vengeance next year. As much as you're saying you're not going to pick any more teams, I know you like to win games, and I know you like to pick correctly. So I hope you come back next year and we put a little bit more on the line for this.
Maybe we do. But as of right now, I don't know. I gotta start studying up on some hockey, because I don't really know what happened. I don't. Yeah. I'm in shock, as you can see.
Yeah, and you said studying. Speaking of studying, me and Trav, we got to go study ourselves because it's finals week. But we'll send it back to Travis and Tucker in the studio. Take it away. All right, guys. Unfortunately, we don't have a going mobile this week. We did not have the time. That is finals week here at the University of Oregon. So
campus was dead. Campus
was dead. Short on time today, but we're going straight into hot takes. We're bringing it back. I'm starting off here with a bang. I've been thinking about this one for a while, and there's one clip in particular that made me confident in this hot take here. But my hot take this week is that Bryce Young will be the biggest bust in NFL history. Period, hands down. And I don't know. I saw like he's definitely he deserves to be a first round quarterback. He deserved to get that opportunity. But I was always doubtful when I would see him play at Alabama. You know, we talk about how these SEC schools have so much talent around them. They have better O-lines than every other conference in the country. They just have so much talent. And honestly, Bryce Young did not impress me that much when I watched him at Alabama. So I already had mixed feelings about him going into the draft. But then I'm seeing videos of him at Panthers practices, and he looks like a little midget. He looks like Kyler 2.0. And honestly, his college highlight tape does not look anything close to as good as I thought Kyler's looked. So personally, I think he's just going to be a really washed up version of Kyler Murray. And we'll see if he can even see over that O-line of his. But it's going to be interesting. I personally think that he's going to be a bust.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with you here. I think Bryce Young maybe is not warranted at the first overall pick. Like, we'll see guys like Peyton Manning. I don't think he's going to go take that route of his career, but I think he's going to be a formidable starter in the league, maybe to the likes of a guy like Kyler Murray, you know, maybe a little bit better. Kyler Murray is a startable guy in this league. But I think Bryce Young has the ability to be good. And that Panthers, like the team around him isn't bad. Like, he has Miles Sanders, he has Adam Thielen, he has DJ Chark, you know, so there's players that allow him to kind of shine a little bit, whereas like a guy like CJ Stroud kind of really doesn't have anybody. But in my head, like, Bryce Young, yes, he doesn't have like the tape that you would like to see from a quarterback at Alabama, but honestly, the last 3 years, I don't think you can name a receiver that came out of Alabama's draft class. Like, I think it really ended in that Jerry Jeudy was the last first round Alabama quarterback, and that's with Mac Jones. So we as know that the Alabama team hasn't been as good as it has been in recent years. But I kind of like that Bryce Young, you know, didn't just go out there and wasn't given everything, and he kind of still, Alabama was still a top 10 team every year with him, and he didn't have the talent that, say, Mac Jones or guys like that had. So I think there's a little bit of hope for him.
No, I think there's always a hope for any player, but the signs are not there for me to be a star quarterback. I think he might be startable. I think his ceiling for me is like where Daniel Jones is at right now, like that caliber of player. Like, he'll be okay. He'll be decent. He'll get you a couple fantasy points. He might be a decent fantasy quarterback, but I don't see him ever accomplishing a great season with the Panthers the way that Cam Newton was able to, or any of these other quarterbacks, Joe Burrow on the Bengals, or whoever else you want to compare to. But yeah, no, that's my take.
I mean, if you're gonna
Bryce Young's a bust.
If you're gonna compare him to Cam Newton and expect him to go 15-1, only few quarterbacks have done that. So then you're just setting the guy up for failure.
Well, I'm not comparing him to Cam. I'm just he's the other young quarterback that the Panthers have drafted recently. But let's hear what you got to say.
Yeah, so my hot take first is Stephon Diggs will not play for the Bills this season. He's getting traded or he's holding out, whatever he wants. But we've mentioned this on podcasts for who knows how long. But everyone remembers the dispute Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs had in that game versus the Chiefs, and I think that doesn't go unnoticed. Obviously, I think it's a big news right now. He has not shown up to rookie minicamp, or not rookie, but minicamp in general, mandatory minicamp, and he is not there. And quote from Sean McDermott has said he is very concerned that Stephon Diggs is not there. And Josh Allen kind of is like, Steph is going to be Steph. Like, why are you saying that to your best guy? That he's just going to be him. Let him. He's a loose cannon. That's kind of what it entailed to me. And that's kind of a negative connotation about Josh Allen to say about your number one receiver that you're supposed to be best friends with. But I look a little past that relationship, and I think that there's some big flaws in there. Him not showing up to mandatory minicamp unannounced is huge, and it's not like he has a contract dispute either. He's under contract till 2025, 2026. So there is other issues on why he's not showing up to mandatory minicamp, and Rumorville's going crazy, and now a bunch of teams are seeing if they can take calls about trading for Stephon Diggs. But I think if Stephon Diggs doesn't want to play, it's not in the Bills' hands. Whether obviously the Bills want him on the team, but if Stephon's not willing to play, he's not going to be there.
Right. Yeah, no, that's very interesting. I wonder. Maybe we get a little pairing of the Diggs brothers.
I heard that Dallas was very involved.
That would be very interesting to see Stephon and Trayvon go head to. I mean, they would be fucking playing against each other at practice every week.
That's true. They did sign Brandon Cooks though, so they're kind of good on the receiver end, but that would be wild.
They did get Brandon Cooks. They did lose. What's his name? He had a breakout year last year. I forget his name. He went to. Oh my God, where did he sign to? Oh, I forget. His last name is Brown, I'm pretty sure. Brown. Yeah, Noah Brown. Brown. He was good. So they lost him, but yeah, I don't know. That could be very interesting seeing Stephon paired up with his brother there in Dallas.
Yeah, it's true, but no matter where he goes, I don't think he'll be playing for the Bills, especially with the tweets that he's put out online and just how Josh Allen has handled the situation. It's just like Steph's going to be Steph. I think that's just that's kind of just like I think that's a jab in a sense.
No, I agree.
But another star receiver you have leaving teams, I see here as your hot take.
Yeah, no, I think that there's a lot of speculation around where DeAndre Hopkins is going to end up this offseason. And I think I found a landing spot for him. You know, I was once on that Chiefs bandwagon thinking that he's going to join the Chiefs. Chiefs have a horrible receiving room right now. So obviously that's a pretty obvious choice. He wants to go win a ring, go to the Chiefs. No, I'm cutting that down right here, right now. You heard it here first. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a New England Patriot next year. Mm-hmm. He's joining the Patriots. Bill Belichick and Mac Jones, they don't have any receivers over there in New England. They need to get them a receiver one. And honestly, I mean, maybe DeAndre Hopkins doesn't have the most fun over there in New England, but they know how to fucking win.
They do.
Bill Belichick is one coach in this league that I know knows how to win games. Yeah. And I think that they could potentially be a team that is a receiver away from being close to an elite team again. Yeah. Their quarterback is decent. Their O-line is decent. They have a good running back core. Ramondre Stevenson's was a dog last year. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind the offensive side of the ball if they have DeAndre Hopkins in that room with them. And then obviously the Patriots defense will always be good because of their coaching.
100%.
So they could be a pretty well-rounded team. Yeah. And especially if DeAndre Hopkins is going to join the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a scary team and may jump them into the playoff race here. You know, with Matthew Judon, you got your star defensive guy. Now, if you're able to get DeAndre Hopkins, you have DeAndre Hopkins, you have Juju Smith-Schuster as well.
Right.
You have Ramondre Stevenson, you have Mac Jones. Like, you're setting your young quarterback up for success. So I think that they could be a scary team if they're able to land D-Hop. But I heard a lot of other teams are involved, like Tennessee. So it's just at this point, I think it's a bidding war. Who wants DeAndre Hopkins more? And maybe the Patriots do, although Bill Belichick is not known for spending big money on star talents. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. Big toss-up.
But moving on to my hot take about the winning culture, I think half of the playoff teams from last season will not make the playoffs this year.
Oh, really?
Half of them. I think the league is changing at a remarkable rate. We see every year there's new strategies, new schemes that come out, and I think half of the teams are not going to make it, especially, some teams that made it last year that completely fell off, such as Tampa Bay. That we know that they're not going to make it. But so I'm going to go down the list here of about half the teams that I think will not make the playoffs next year. So first I'm going to start in the NFC. I'm going to go the Minnesota Vikings. I think 11 of their games last year, I think 90% of their wins, they won by one possession, and they went 11-0 in those one possession games. Yeah. That's unheard of. That's not going to happen again. They're going to get a couple more losses there. And I don't think that their team is as good as it was. You got Danielle Hunter holding out for contract disputes, so we'll see what happens there. No Adam Thielen. It's really just Justin Jefferson on the offensive side of the ball. They cut Dalvin Cook. I think that they got a whole lot worse.
I don't agree. I don't disagree with that at all.
Next is Tampa Bay. I don't think that they'll make the playoffs. I feel like we don't really even need to touch on that. Baker Mayfield, Taylor Heineke, who's going to be their quarterback? Who knows? When you're dealing with that type of controversy, you're not going to be making the playoffs.
Completely agree with that.
Next is the New York Giants. I think they had a wild season last year. I think they got really lucky to make the playoffs just because they had a really easy schedule. But now since they finished third in the NFC East and they're a little bit better, I think they're going to be playing a little bit more teams. Some teams are going to take them a little bit more seriously. Daniel Jones, I don't think is going to have the non-interception year that he had last year. I think he's going to throw a few more turnovers. So I think that they're not going to make it. And lastly, I have the Seattle Seahawks. This is why this is here on the hot take. I don't think that the Seahawks, I think that they're on the brink of making the playoffs and not making the playoffs, but they got young talent. Geno Smith had an amazing year last year. I don't know if he's going to be able to replicate it, just as I said with the Daniel Jones take. So I feel like if you're going to say that about Daniel Jones, you got to keep it consistent with all the quarterbacks around the league. And let's not forget that Green Bay was supposed to make the playoffs, and then they lose to Detroit. So Seattle didn't even make it on their own account. They had to result to other teams losing for them to hop into that playoff picture. So I don't think we got to overlook that either. But I think that this is why this is on the Hot Take podcast, Hot Take segment, as I can see the Seattle Seahawks regressing a little bit at the quarterback position and therefore losing a couple more games.
I find that hysterical. And I think all the Seahawk fans out there would find that hysterical, and all the NFL analysts currently around the league would find that absolutely hysterical, because the Seahawks have only gotten better since last year. We signed Bobby Wagner.
Correct.
We made a bunch of trades.
Yeah.
We got some guys. We had a huge season we had a huge draft.
Yeah.
We got better at so many positions. There is no way that we are going to regress.
I think that there's one position that matters, and that's the quarterback. And I'm not completely sold on Geno Smith, as I feel a lot of people in the comment section when we post our little clips from the podcast have said, Geno Smith has only had one good season. He's so overrated. Everyone thinks he's a top 5 quarterback in the league, top 8 quarterback in the league already, when he's only done that for 1 year. So we'll see what happens next year. I could see them missing it. That's why I put it here on Hot Takes, though. Who knows?
Sure. So what teams do you have replacing them?
Well, first, let's go to the AFC. I still have some AFC teams that are not making it.
Oh, yeah.
Miami, I think that they got better with Jalen Ramsey, with Tyreek Hill, and they have all the talent in the world. But Tua's health concern really gives me issues, because I don't think you're winning. I don't even know if they still have Teddy Bridgewater on that team, but if Tua cannot stay healthy, I don't think that you're making the playoffs. So that's enough said. I mean, doctors have gone to him and said, hey, we don't even think you should play football again. So that's why I have the Dolphins not making it. And then also another hot take. We had one on the NFC side with Seattle. I'm going to go one on the AFC side. I'm going to go the Buffalo Bills. If they, like I said before, if Stephon Diggs is not on that team, I don't think Josh Allen is as good as people think he is. He hasn't really done anything. He hasn't really accomplished anything. He led the league last year in turnovers, and people are crowning him with the Madden cover athlete. I'm not, he is a top 5 quarterback, yes, but he chokes in the biggest moments. If they lose Stephon Diggs, I would be in massive trouble in Buffalo, especially if New England could get DeAndre Hopkins, and teams in your division like the Jets have massively improved.
I agree with that.
So here's the teams I have replacing. I'm going to go quick here. I think the Lions win the division over the Vikings. I think the Panthers win that division. I think the Saints secure one of the wild card spots, and I think the Green Bay Packers get it in there at the last 7th seed. I think just Aaron Rodgers, the toxicity of that quarterback being gone, the whole team's bought into Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers played god-awful last year, with one of his worst touchdown interception ratios of his career. I think setting Jordan Love up and still having the talent that we have around him, and again, adding 2 so-called first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, I think Green Bay has the potential to maybe sneak in there in the playoffs, and that's who I have there.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. You have the Packers swapping with the Seahawks, basically.
I do, and I do think that. Yeah, I do think I do think both have question marks at the quarterback position. But let's not forget last year, Green Bay was supposed to make the playoffs. Yes, they lost to Detroit, but they going into Week 18, they controlled their own destiny. So, as much as Seattle, you think, their roster's better, Green Bay still had an edge up on them last year until the last quarter of the Packers-Lions game. So
yeah, sure, you could argue that last year, but your team the Packers got infinitely worse this past season. You lost your starting quarterback, you lost your number 1 receiver, you lost your tight end. I don't know where you're coming from. You have a brand new quarterback who hasn't started a full game, or he's played a couple of games, but he has not played a full season. He's young. No one knows what he's capable of yet. There's a lot of question marks. I find that very, very hard to believe that you're putting a team who no one knows how they're going to perform over a team that made the playoffs last year and clearly got better. That's wild to me. I'm taking the bias away. That's a wild take there.
I mean, it could be a wild take, and we'll have to see what happens this season. But Honestly, I do think that, yes, you lose Tanya and you lose Lazard, but you replace them with Jaden Reed, you replace them with Luke Musgrave. Yes, they're young, but they're still first, second round picks. So I don't, outside of the quarterback position, where did Green Bay get worse? You get Eric Stokes back, who was a star slot corner for them last year that got injured. Jair Alexander's back for a full season. Rashawn Gary, who was leading second in Depoy, who got injured and tore his ACL last year, he's back again. So you're getting a lot of players back who were injured last year. Christian Watson improves, just like you were saying with guys like Kenneth Walker. So really it's the quarterback position. Yes, you drop off from Aaron Rodgers, but let's not forget Aaron Rodgers had an all-time historic worst season for his records, which is still great for other quarterbacks. So we'll see where Jordan Love goes, but I've heard a lot of analysts be pretty high on him, and I still have question marks about Geno Smith. I think it's going to be a battle to the end. The only reason why I give Green Bay the edge is because their division's a little bit worse, so that I think that they can get a little bit more free wins, unlike where you have to play San Francisco, and you'll probably lose both those games, where I don't really see a team in our division that we're losing 2 times to.
The Lions?
The Lions will be the Lions. They're Detroit. They're Detroit for a reason. They're
right.
The reason they haven't won a playoff game in 40 years.
Hey, clip this moment right here, ladies and gentlemen. I want you guys to come back and watch this moment when the Packers are 5-12 and the Seahawks are 12-5 and we're fucking in the playoffs, baby. Come on.
All
Clip
right.
it.
We'll see what happens. But
yeah, finish it off. I want to hear your AFC teams now.
My AFC teams that will be replacing are the Browns. Deshaun Watson, we know he's a good quarterback from his 3 years in Houston. He had issues last year. I think now he's back. People kind of forgot about the whole situation. I think that he can kind of ease back into the NFL, have a full offseason with the Browns. They still have that elite run game with Nick Chubb and that elite defense with Myles Garrett. And then the Jets, obviously, I think they'll win.
That's a given.
They'll win that division. So Lions, Packers, Saints, Panthers, Browns, and Jets, I think, will be your replacing playoff teams. But I guess we have a segment to figure out what the records are going to be right here, right now. So let's get Siri out and let's see what we're doing.
We are going to have Siri. We've been doing this for the past couple weeks now. We're going to have Siri pick a random number 1 through 32. I got the NFL power rankings right here. So let's see what team Siri picks for us this week. Let's see. Pick a number 1 through 32. It is 31. I don't have my sound on, but I promise you guys it is 31. That's going to be an interesting one. Let's go see that we're going all the way down to the bottom of this list here.
Who's team 31 in the power
31.
rankings?
I actually love this. We're doing the Houston Texans, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I love this because I don't think that they're going to be the second worst team in the league this year.
Yeah, I don't think so. CJ Stroud, they improved a lot, but not too much. So we'll see how many wins we give them here.
All right. I got the schedule pulled up here. You got it over there?
Yeah, so week 1, they will be traveling to Baltimore. I feel like you don't really need to say much about that. Baltimore Ravens win that game. Week 2, 2 rookie quarterbacks going at it early in their career.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to give it to Indy.
Really?
Yeah, I think early in their career, I trust Jonathan Taylor to carry Anthony Richardson more than I do trust Dameon Pierce. So I think with Quentin Nelson in that line, I think that the Colts are more ready for just to throw a quarterback in there and let's get started than Houston really has nobody, and they're all going to be growing at the same rate, and you're going to have growing pains early in the year.
Okay, I could get behind that one. Week 3, we already did in a previous week. If you didn't see it, we have already done the Jacksonville Jaguars schedule. We have them beating the Texans week 3. But week 4, I hope you agree with me here, but I think the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud pick up their first win of the season against the Steelers in week 4.
I'm going to have to disagree.
Wow.
I think Mike Tomlin is too much of a veteran coach to let a rookie in his 4th game come in there and win. So we might have to be pulling a little rock, paper, scissors here.
All right, let's do it.
1 game. Here we go. All right.
We're giving them a win in week 4. Let's go, baby.
Although week 5 is where I think they pick up their first win in my book against Atlanta, a team, again, with Desmond Ridder, who is kind of a rookie guy. We don't really know how he's doing. Bijan as a rookie running back. I still think that CJ Stroud, I trust him more than I trust Desmond Ridder, so that's where I would give them their first win.
I give them a win there, and then I also give them a win in week 6. I think that the Texans get a little hot. They go on a little 3-game streak here, and they beat the Saints in week 6. Who knows what's going on with the Saints? You got the Alvin Kamara suspension whole thing going on. who knows how their quarterback situation is going to turn out over there. So to me, the Saints are their team is up in the air. So I'm giving it to the Texans. I hope you agree with that.
I do not. Again,
Wow.
I'm going to have to go New Orleans here. I think just Derek Carr with that veteran presence. I think you have guys like Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and then on the defensive side of the ball, Cameron Jordan. You still got veterans there. And I don't even know who's on the defensive side of the ball for Houston.
Will Anderson. Come on now.
Jalen Petrie and Will Anderson. Like, I don't think that's better than DeMario Davis, Marshawn Lattimore, Cameron Jordan. So I'm going to have to give it to the New Orleans Saints.
I won the first rock, paper, scissors. We can give it to the Saints here on this one. Week 7, they got a bye, but we come back week 8 after the bye, and they're playing
first, second overall pick.
This is going to be an interesting one.
Both coming off byes. I'm going to go with the home team in Carolina.
I differ with you here as well. I really think that CJ, by the time week 8 rolls around, I think that it'll be very clear who the best quarterback of this draft class is, and that to me is going to be CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
And I think that he will come in to Carolina and absolutely torch their defense. I don't care if he doesn't have any receivers with him. CJ Stroud is that guy. He's going to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, I love CJ Stroud. He's from my high school, as most people do know. But Miles Sanders, Adam Thielen, Brian Burns, Jeremy Chin, there's just guys that the Panthers have and that most teams have that Houston does not. And one guy in football cannot win you a game.
That is fair. I think that maybe the supporting cast of the Panthers is a little better. But if you're coming out and telling me that your wide receiver 1 is Adam Thielen, like, that's already an issue. I don't think that's too much to talk about.
Houston is Nico Collins. That's ultimately worse than Adam Thielen.
That is worse, but I think that CJ Stroud is that much of a better quarterback that he's going to lead his team to victory.
All right. Well,
should we play rock, paper, scissors for this one? Because I feel strongly. Oh, the mind games are in play today. Give it to the Texans, baby. Week 9. I hope we definitely can agree on this win here. First, the Buccaneers.
I do think that this is where the Houston Texans win again versus Tampa. I do think Tampa is not as good as though they do have a really good defense, but just offensively, I don't think that they're going to be where everyone thinks that they're going to be. But
completely agree.
Week 10, I think that's a blowout win for Cincinnati. So we don't really need to touch on that. The Cincinnati Bengals are a way better team than
100% agree with you there. But then they do go ahead and they smoke the Cardinals, though.
I'm going to have to differ with you again.
The Cardinals?
I think Houston has the worst roster in the NFL. And when you have the worst roster in the NFL, what would we have them at 4 wins right now, halfway through the season? That's just not possible.
All right, you know what? Just because I got the last one, I'll give you this one as well. So we can go ahead and give it to the Cardinals there.
Yeah, I mean, Houston's right. I mean, really, outside of C.J. Stroud will have to be the best quarterback of all time to be able to take them to 4-6, 10 weeks through the year, in my opinion. Dameon Pierce, I don't even think he's that good of a running back. Nico Collins and whoever the hell they draft, John Mechie, coming off cancer, who hasn't played in 2 years, like, who knows where that team is going to go? And they have one of the worst offensive lines in the league. I don't see Houston's offense being good at all. And their defense, outside of Will Anderson, I don't really see another star on that defense that's going to impact. So I'm definitely disagreeing with the 4-6 here, but you feel highly on CJ, so we're going to keep rolling.
I do feel good. I don't think that they are going to be as bottom tier of a team as people think they're going to be. But week 12, we already got this one as well. Jags are going to sweep the Texans this year. So Jags go 2-0 versus Texans.
Yeah, here week 13, Denver's traveling to Houston. I'm going to have to give it to Denver again. Sean Payton, Denver. Russell Wilson, just a lot of veterans on that team that Houston doesn't really have, and I think that's the key of this year for Houston. I think that they could be good in the next couple of years, but just they have no veteran talent on that team. So
I agree with you there.
Denver. And week 14.
We can also chop that one up pretty quickly.
Yeah,
versus the Jets, that's going to be a W for Aaron Rodgers, who is going to have plenty of games under his belt now with the new roster. So definitely giving it to the Jets there. And week 15.
I'm going to have to give it to Tennessee at home. Everyone knows Derrick Henry, when he plays Houston, always puts up 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. All of his crazy stiff arms and 99-yard runs all are against either Houston or Jacksonville. So I think Derrick Henry is going to sweep Houston just because I don't know what happens whenever he's like playing Houston, but he's like, I need to get 250 and 2 touchdowns.
That's fine. We could give it to Tennessee at home there. I don't mind that.
Week 16.
I'm giving it to the Browns here.
I'm going to have to give it to the Browns, too. I like your thinking there.
I think the Browns are going to be much better than people think next year.
Exactly. I mean, if you watch Hot Takes, I have them as one of my playoff teams. Yeah. So
the next week 17, though, I hope you're with me on this. I think that they're going to split games with Tennessee. Tennessee wins at home, but then Houston gets them right back at home.
I don't think so. I'm going to have to go Tennessee. They still have Ryan Tannehill, a team that 2 years ago went 13-4. So I think Tennessee still has the pieces to be good. Obviously, they lost A.J. Brown last year, and Traylon Burks they drafted didn't really pan out to completely who they wanted. But
so wait, before we chalk it up, do you also have them losing Week 18? Or do you have them winning Week 18?
I have them winning Week 18.
Okay, so then either way, we'll just 1 win, 1 loss in those last 2 weeks.
All right, well, let's give them the loss versus Tennessee because I do think Tennessee is going to be better than Indianapolis.
Okay.
And then let's give the Houston Texans the win against Indy, putting their record at 5-12.
Yeah, so definitely bottom of the league.
Definitely bottom of the league.
Clip this as well because I think that they might be able to buckle up for another extra win or two. I think they could muster 6-7 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I think that definitely would be a taller task to accomplish for this roster on the Houston Texans, but I see that being a possibility for sure.
It definitely is a possibility, but in my head, if I had to do this by myself, I would have the Texans at 4 wins or less. So 4 wins or less, I think. I don't think that they're getting 5 with the roster. I think C.J. Stroud can be as good as he is and still have a bright spot, but then they win 4 games. I mean, you saw that with Trevor Lawrence. His team had the first overall pick his first year of his career. Aaron Rodgers, his team only had 6 wins in the first year of his career. So good quarterbacks, like their teams cannot be good. Like I think Trevor Lawrence's team only won 3 games when in the first year of his career, and we saw what Trevor Lawrence is now. And I think that's what you're going to see with the Houston Texans this year.
All right, well, we'll see. Only time will tell. Let's get back on to Siri here. Let's do one more team.
Let's do it.
Pick a number 1 through 32.
The answer is 26.
26, another bottom-tiered team here. Let's go check and see who is the 26th ranked team. Another somewhat of an interesting one here. We got the Atlanta Falcons.
Awesome.
We're doing the Atlanta Falcons here. I don't mind this one either.
I don't mind this. This is gonna be interesting here for the Atlanta Falcons, I think. I think there's a lot of question marks surrounding their quarterback and their just team in general. So
yeah.
But we know if we rebuild them, if you haven't watched that, go watch that they'll win the Super Bowl. So
that is true.
Go watch the Falcons rebuild.
Travis and Tucker being the GMs of Falcons, they're 13-4,
yes.
15-2, whatever you want to call it. They're
100%.
amazing. But Falcons in real life, spoiler alert, they are not going to be anywhere close to that. Week 1,
they host Carolina.
And I think that Bryce Young doesn't have what it takes to win his first game.
Oh, really? I think Bryce Young does have what it takes to win his first game in Atlanta. I'm going to have to give it to the Carolina Panthers.
All right, well, then that means the Falcons are 100% going to be winning week 2.
No.
That's what's going to happen, guys. So, yeah, the Panthers can win week 1. I'll give that to Travis. But week 2 versus the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, it's only his second game. It's a brand new team around him. Or sorry, not brand new, but he hasn't started and played with these guys yet. I think that there's still too many question marks. Green Bay is still trying to figure their thing out. I'm giving it to the Falcons here.
I'm going to have to disagree and go with Green Bay. I just think their defense and their veteran presence with Jair Alexander, Rashawn Gary, best left tackle in the league, and David Bakhtiari, one of the best run games with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. I think you're going to easily allow Jordan Love to do his thing. And I don't think we lose to Atlanta, if I'm being honest.
All right, well, I think I gave you week 1, so I'm chalking this one week 2 up as a loss. Either way you put it, I think through 2 weeks, Atlanta will have 2 losses.
Oh, I'm fighting you here, so we're doing a rock, paper, scissors, or we're what?
All right, rock, paper, scissors. If I win, the Falcons beat the Packers. If you win, flips. We'll let the Packers win, and then the Panthers lose. But they got to be 1-1. Let's go.
All right.
No matter how you slice it up, 1-2. But week 3, they're going into Detroit. I think they lose. I think they lose versus Detroit. What do you think?
I agree.
Simple chalk up, bang, and then like we've already been saying, we've already done the Jacksonville Jaguars schedule. So week 4 goes to the Jags. Week 5 also we just did the Texans as you just saw. So week 5 3 losses for the Falcons in a row. Weeks 3 through 5. Week 6 though, how do you feel about that?
I'm gonna have to give it to Atlanta. I don't really know what's going on with Washington, so
we could give it to Atlanta there. Week 6, week 7, battle of some of the bottom fraggers there.
Yeah, I think Atlanta's better than Tampa Bay, honestly, well.
I agree. I think we definitely give it to Atlanta there. Week 8, another interesting game versus Tennessee. I don't know. This one's a toss-up one for me. I could go either way.
I'm going to give it to Tennessee coming off a bye. Hopefully Derrick Henry's still healthy by then. But that run game controlling the clock, I think Atlanta is not going to be able to stop Derrick Henry.
All right, I'm good with that. And I also think they lose to the Vikings.
I agree with that.
They lose to the Vikings week 9. And then battle the Birds week 10. Battle the Birds.
I'm going to have to go Arizona here. I like Kyler Murray more than I like Desmond Ridder. And I honestly think that the Cardinals aren't going to be as bad as they were last year. So I know they just lost DeAndre Hopkins, but they still have a decent quarterback at the helm. So
they move on to their bye week, and then we get into some divisional rivalry here. Both teams coming off a bye. Saints versus Falcons. That's always a good matchup to watch. But I think I'm taking the Saints, unfortunately, for the Falcons.
I'm going to have to take the Saints as well.
I'm taking the Saints here. Even though the Falcons are home, still taking the Saints. The Jets week 12, week 13. That's easy for me. Jets all the way there.
Right.
And then they go back and play Tampa Bay again. And I don't think the story is any different. I think that the Falcons will sweep Tampa Bay this year.
I do agree. Week 15, I think the Panthers do win that game, though. Bryce Young is going to be well in his bag by then. So I do think that they win week 15.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to the Panthers there. I'm fine with that. Week 16. This is a toss-up here. I think I might go Indianapolis. I think Anthony Richardson will have enough time under his belt. Similar case to the Panthers there with Bryce Young. But I think that Anthony Richardson and the Colts are definitely on a groove by then.
I do agree. And then week 17, I'm going to have to go Atlanta versus the Chicago Bears.
Like that?
I don't think the Bears are going to be good. They really didn't improve much outside of DJ Moore. So they traded down with the first overall pick, and you can't really expect much improvement outside of that.
And then last week here, do we want to give the Saints, or are we letting the Saints sweep the Dirty Birds?
I'm going to let the Saints sweep the Dirty Birds. I am.
I'm with
at
it.
home, week 18. The Falcons really aren't going to be playing for much. Maybe the Saints are primed for a playoff push like I had in Hot Takes, so we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But overall, that puts the Falcons at 5-12, which is, again, where I think they would be around.
Yeah.
So
Bijan, although one of the best running backs to come out of the draft in the past few seasons, I don't think it's enough to help the Falcons get even anywhere close to being 500. So I definitely think that we did a pretty good job here on the
outside of week 2. I do think Green Bay's winning that game. So you better hope we don't get Seattle soon, because I'm going to be marking a lot of losses for them. So that's all I got to say.
Someone's not too happy with that.
No,
pick.
I'm not at all.
Hey,
just the slander, the hate from that side. It's always a Green Bay hate. It's all right.
No, that's how I genuinely feel. I think that Bijan will be able to run the ball pretty effectively. I think that the Packers
and Aaron Jones can't.
I know. I didn't say that you guys can't run the ball effectively. I just think that Jordan Love won't be ready just yet. Week 2. I think that you guys have a shot with Jordan Love, but I think that he's going to need a cut like more than 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks to really get settled in and start feeling like this is his team now. You know?
I mean, I guess you could say that, but then you can go and say the same thing with Desmond Ridder. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
Jordan Love has sat for 3 years. He's been there. He's had a veteran presence in front of him. He's a little bit more of a veteran than Desmond Ridder is, so I think Jordan Love will have an easier transition than Desmond Ridder. That's why I think Green Bay has a chance to win a couple games early.
Yeah. No matter how you chalk it up, I think that the Falcons will be finishing 5-12 is really the moral of the story here.
100%. So, well,
But yeah,
that's all we got for you guys. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no Going Mobile this week. I'm so sorry. But we'll be back next week with Going Mobile.
We will be.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching, tuning in. Hope you enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Leave a comment about how you think me and Travis did on this week's 2 schedules for NFL teams. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Peace. Cue the outro, baby.
Peace.